Good morning. Boy, what a morning. This is awesome. We have that nice gap down. We got into some put debit spreads for some very frugal put debit spreads, I might add, where they're only $1 wide and we paid about 10 cents per spread. And I was going to print some at least 100% returns this morning, possibly even 200% return for some of us. Some of our members got in around 11 cents. Some of our members got in around 9 cents, and it's payday. Anyway, we're looking at a few other things moving around. I've got the Bitcoin futures up as we are training price action on Bitcoin Nano futures. And just before the bell here, I think we're going to get one little wiggle out of that, and then possibly some momentum. Just a couple seconds here. Bam, there's the bell. How low can we go? We're looking like we could set up a measured move here today. So if this accumulation stays sideways, stays under critical resistance here, we could definitely move at least a half measured move down below here, which would take us to about 345.50-ish on SPY, and likewise probably around 250.50 somewhere on the Qs. Oh boy, is this going to be a bloody day, it looks like. I'm going to switch these both to 1-minute charts because we like to watch really closely on this opening here. And we have some Google put debit spreads that are going to do real nice. Let me get those open and see where we're at for profit. Let's see, those were the 80.75. Let's see, those are currently running at about 45 cents. Paid 32 for those. Not too shabby. Wow, that is very low volatility for an open. Ordinarily, we'd have a couple big 1-minute candles by now, but not today. Market's kind of sitting here waiting to decide what to do. Very interesting. That won't last long. Everything's just kind of quiet at the moment. And if we can break that low, we'll get some momentum here. Let's see here. And we might have a little bounce. Yeah, that CPI data drop, man, that's certainly not for the faint of heart. That was quite the awakening for a lot of people, and fortunately, we got ahead of that in a good way. And I'm going to point something out real quick here. We've got that bearish purple wolf kind of hanging out, and I'm going to adjust it a little bit to meet that slope here. That would set us up for one hell of a measured move today. I don't want to see it go that low yet. All right, there's that 255.50 area for critical resistance on a Q. And here comes SPY coming right up to that 350 zone. I'm going to get really zoomed in here. This will be about the next few minutes that we get to decide whether we can go and short a dead cat bounce and then ride a measured move to the bear side, or if we're just going to crawl around here and then accumulate and bounce through this pivot and run a retracement where we get a 50%er. Yeah, that's a quick little $5 move basically for SPY, and for a Q, about the same, maybe a $4 move, but very similar motion, similar momentum. And I'll give it a couple of ticks here, and I'll decide whether I'm going to profit that Google spread or not. Interesting how the Bitcoin futures are not mimicking the actual Bitcoin chart right now. Not the same. We're looking at an evening star here, but I don't see that on the futures chart. It's just different. All right, nice tweezer top here on SPY and Q. All we got to do is open up some momentum, get some volume on board, and this will start to tip over. Let's see here. Go get back with those 45, 44 puts real quick. All right, I'm going to go ahead and profit those at 24 cents right now. So I'm seeing some accumulation here. It's not quite looking to tip over just yet. And I mean, that's well over 150% profit for me and 100% profit for those of you who got in at 11. Definitely worth taking that off the table. But if those things end up in the money today, it'll be a screamer. But I think it's a good time to profit them right about now. slowly crawling. Definitely a good time to profit those. This is just really slow for a moment. We could actually get that measured move after all, so I'll probably keep a few of them open, but I'm going to take 100% profit on a majority of those. That's just the right thing to do. All right, there's one profit order complete. I just put an announcement in there. I'm taking a limit order out at 52 on those. I may end up looking at taking 48 cents instead, but I'm going to try for 52 if it breaks over. Good show, Nicole, if you're listening there. All right, got Bitcoin riding back towards that resistance point. I had set that up at about 18,440 or close enough. It's hard to get those pivots exactly right. But I set this pivot up long before price got here. That is something I had aligned with this angular support level and this descending channel. And effectively, we've made a really nice measured move here, so it's time to profit that and move on. But we might be able to get a third leg down, so I definitely want to keep an eye out for rejection around that 18,440 area and see if we can get into another short position possibly. And here goes Google. Now we're starting to get a little bit more volatility. As you see, the 1-minute Bollinger Bands are starting to widen a little bit. That gives us an indication that we've got a little bit more volatility coming in. But look at this. really tight pinch on the 3-minute chart. Still wide open on the 5-minute chart. So you want to watch the 1-minute chart for your earliest sign of continuation. And we're just kind of legging around, accumulating here. But if it starts to trip any momentum below that key support area, and all you do is you look at the previous low and set a damn line on your chart, really. You know, we got about 348.25 for SPY. And we got about 254.50 for Q over here. Very tight range. But once it breaks one side or the other in this range, you'll pretty readily know that you can take a momentum trade, and you know, whether it breaks bearish or bullish, you can get in on the break and ride some momentum. All right, keeping an eye on Bitcoin futures. It might just pull back here. Hopefully we can get some decent price action trading out of Bitcoin, and mainly it's been a slow grinder. You know, we set up these, we got the main angular resistance here. We're almost to it, and that is part of a nice descending channel. And if it breaks bearish here, it will be quite a mess. But if it continues to go sideways through that channel on that angular resistance, we can almost certainly expect a possible retracement, which would be pretty nice for the bulls for a change. So we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into with that. But for now, it's moving slow enough to where it's easy to train with. And I'm just going to keep an eye on that key pivot area to see if we get rejection there to go short again, or if we can go long. We can actually do either. The 50% retracement is going to be right around 18,490. Somewhere between 18,490 and 18,500. Let's put a mark on that. I'll mark it at 18,500. And we'll make that a yellow line so we can see it really well. There we go. All right, kind of got the little rising channel look on SPY all of a sudden, and it just cranked out of that angular resistance, or that resistance pivot from the previous accumulation here from that dead cat. Now we want to see if this thing's going to reject here and print a tweezer top or something. This is where we're looking for a pattern to build. And I don't like that hammer, so I'm going to profit my Google spread real quick at 46. And also No dice. All right. That looks like momentum to me, but let's see. Also got a control bar right there at about 351.50 back here in that previous drop. Pardon my voice today, I'm a little bit dry. It's my personal favorite allergy season where we get like mold spores and stuff, or algae spores, or whatever the heck it is that I'm allergic to out here. This time of year when it gets a little bit wet out, it really drives me nuts. That might help a little bit. There we go. All right. Whoops. I guess I should monitor the comments on there, huh? Yeah, 2630 would be nuts, but it's very possible, man. Boy, that'd be psycho. Looking at the futures forecast. Hey.
Good morning. Hey,
Morning.
how are you finding control bars?
So I just look left in the chart. Like here, even on Google or on SPY, we've got that big old red bar from that that announcement with CPI right there, and then there's this little guy right here that sets our range for key resistance and key support, and that's just one little control bar. And if you look, price kind of respects it and falls into a little bit of a price channel there. So if it breaks that, then I know that there's a very good, strong possibility that it will go and run up at least a 50% retracement of that big old bear bar. But that's essentially what you do. You just look for the bigger control areas. And then even on a 1-minute chart, they're relevant.
Okay.
But yeah, you just look left to see what the range is. It'll always stick out from somewhere. Even times when you get an overnight gap, you'll get range. If I switch this to a 5-minute chart, yeah, little gap here will give us a little range, but I know in the previous day we had a gap. There it is. So like here you had a control bar up here in yesterday's pre-market, and then you had a gap range down here. And either way, that sets control. And if you just set your lines on those, you'll see that it kind of spent a lot of its time ranging in that area. But one end of it worked as critical resistance, the other end worked as critical support. And then you go and look a little bit further out or go into a bigger time frame and look into it, you'll start to see there's even little areas of control in there. And then also you'll see anytime you have a bigger range candle, you just set a pivot line across it and you'll know where the range is, and it's just essentially an area of interest at the high and the low of that candle. And we just call them control bars because it's easier to say. There's that breach. Pardon me. Looks like we're going to head for that 50% retracement. Done and done. That's cool. And then I don't normally use like fib levels, but they often have relevance here. And I just, we'll call it in thirds, quarters, halves, whatever. But there's your 33% retracement right there that just happened and rejected. And it's just roughly 1/3 the size of that whole control bar. So I'll just kind of mark those out.
And then this morning, were you closing out like straight, anything like that, or were they actually spread?
Was I closing what now?
I know we've been kind of going over like strangles and all that. Is that what you were closing out, or they actually split spreads or call spreads?
Most of the stuff I've been closing out this morning has been spreads. The strangles, if you can take the big move, if it's totally profitable, even though if you haven't closed the losing side yet and it's still net profitable, you can close the whole thing and take the profit on it for sure. Like for instance, let me go back into Ford here, see where they did. Yeah, you could have taken profit on the put side of Ford if you got legged in, and then already be taking profit on the call side right about here. Or if the thing is net profitable, like you close both sides of it and still make a profit, you can do it that way too. I'm going to keep my eyes on Google. I closed all but one set of those spreads that I announced there. So yeah, let's see here. We actually got our little rising channel on Bitcoin here. And it just broke. I just realized that. These channels are cool. They're a great high probability trade typically. We'll set up from these channels, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So let's look at the structure. You get a rising channel. You typically will get 3 attempts on angular support in a rising channel. And when they break, they'll usually pull back to about a 50% retracement of the whole channel height. That happens to be right around here at 18,390. That's the expected bear move for that pullback. Now, longer term, these channels will tend to set up as a pullback. So if we get a bullish measured move, in comparison with Q here, it's got the same pattern basically. After that 50% pullback, you can sometimes expect this if it's going to be a bullish measured move. You take the entire length of the channel and you literally take a imaginary set of dividers and you stack that channel on top of the accumulation point where it retraced 50%. So you take this height here from about 255 to almost 257, so almost a whole dollar move. Stack that on top of the accumulation point at the break of 257. Your target would be 258 on a measured move. So kind of neat how those tend to work out pretty regularly. This was a much smaller channel, but there it is. And the same goes for SPY. Channel breaks are fun to trade, and for a while they kind of disappeared from the market. You just didn't really see them as much as you would normally have seen them. And all of a sudden they're coming back in style, I guess. But you get enough experience with all the different chart patterns you look for, and you just instinctively see them. You let your limbic system take over and make the trade for you on autopilot, essentially. Usually works out pretty good. Just about traced back right to that base of that control bar. And that's the other thing, the control bars will play an effect for range in that pullback as well. So they don't always continue into measured moves, but if you know that it's going to break resistance, typically the measured move ends up being a good trade. I typically will trade these on the break back down to that 50% retracement. So if I was trading the MES right here, or the ES, I would make a pretty easy profit on that. And here comes Bitcoin, almost respecting that. Since Google didn't quite do as deep of a retracement pullback, so you can see it just kind of tapped off that 20 period and continued on up. So I'm looking for probability of rejection at about the 1 minute 200 period if Google's going to continue to run up to about 97.25. I would expect a rejection up there somewhere. That's about half the height of that control bar from the drop anyway. Definitely keep an eye on that one. And yesterday was somewhat boring, and today's kind of going to be much of the same, unfortunately, until we start to break out. And we still got a pretty good chance of finding some momentum to trade today, but it's not the biggest amount. We'll be able to scalp around in some ES contracts and stuff much more readily than we'd be able to mess with options on something like SPY and Q today. It says nothing about taking profit from stuff you held overnight, though. And typically before an event like this, before a major data event, I will get into a neutral position the day before. I was able to wiggle my way into a really nice condor yesterday, and then profited the put side really nicely today. Took well over 125, 130% on that. And then the call side probably gets wiped out, but it's the profit on the put side more than covers that, so it is net profitable. And then I also had some just straight put debit spreads because I was more bearish than bullish going into the evening last night. And before the bell, we were talking about getting into some put debit spreads. I did add a bunch of them and profited very well on those this morning. So overall, not a bad day, just an anticipation of volatility today. It's not every day that you can get into one of those positions with the expectation of great profit like that. Typically, when I'm running these dollar-wide put debit spreads on stuff, I'm typically looking to day trade them. Even though I've got some timed expiration on them, I will typically look for usually about at least a 50% return is pretty nice on them, and it's very easily achievable. I know if some of you bought those put debit spreads at like 10 cents yesterday, you probably could have sold them for over 20 cents on this drop this morning, right at the bell, and made 100% right overnight, just like that. The idea is to never FOMO those. You want to make sure that if you're seeing a substantial profit on those, get rid of them. Take that profit. Don't sit on it and wonder if you're going to make more because you're not. Hoping my allergy medication will take care of this today. Ugh, it's not feeling great. All right, so Bitcoin nanos are coming into a supply zone right here. Suddenly there's not a lot of volatility up above this price point. Looking at 18,315 on the nano futures. Doesn't quite reflect the Bitcoin price here. We're at 18,430, but if we do get rejected here, we've got range back down to 18,130. And respectfully, probably about 18,350 on the Bitcoin itself, but it's more or less looking like it's going to do the bullish measured move anyway. So just because there's no liquidity there doesn't mean it doesn't get allowed to break out above that supply zone. So all right, well, we took profit on the Google put debit spread. That was great. Well within expectations. I was expecting a 50% return, and I'm usually happy between 20 and 50% on something like that. Being as out of the money as it was, that wasn't going to be like a, one of the 200 or 300% returns that sometimes I can get out of those. Looking at closing it for at least 50% is always great, and getting in at 32 cents. I mean, the idea is if you make at least 16 cents on that thing, you're already at a 50% return. So pardon me. 48 cents would have been about that 50% return. I got a little bit less than that, but I'm okay with that. Got 46 cents. All right, nice evening star on Google, by the way. And where did we hit here? Let me get zoomed out on SPY. We don't have our Stone with us today. He's hanging out with his fiance, getting a medical procedure done. So our heart goes out to the guy and his fiance, and hopefully everything goes well. All right, could we be getting a pullback here?
Jeremy, regarding the QQQ, what's your plan once hit the 50% retracement? Is it going to be another put spread again?
Maybe. I want to wait and see what happens when it hits that 50% retracement. And it's kind of moving on up. If I see a rejection or a reversal pattern around there, I would definitely go and look to day trade a put debit spread at that point. But if it gets continuation above that, I can certainly switch that to a call debit spread. And right now it's looking like it's going to make at least the half measured move here. So once it hits the top of that second leg, I'll know for sure which way I want to trade it. Entering into a put debit spread around this time of day is not the wisest thing, because that time decay and that volatility, the implied volatility fade there is going to be making it very difficult to hold it long enough to make a decent profit with it. So if I haven't taken profit already, I would make sure I took profit on the spread that I did have overnight. But at this point, it's wait and see. And worst case scenario, we end up with a trend up to the half day, and if we get a continuation pattern in the middle of the day, we can certainly ride bullish from there and get into a position when implied volatility is at its lowest in the middle of the day. And as long as it's a spread, the time decay won't mess with it too much from that point. But right now, it's kind of critical where unless you're going to be trading it for just a couple minutes on massive movements, it's not prudent to get into one right now. Waiting to see if Bitcoin's going to
Thank
reject
you.
here too. No problem. Were you able to take profit on the spread you held overnight there?
Yes, I did. I sold it, I don't know, for 20 or 21 cents because it keep dropping down. I
Excellent.
regret I didn't trade it when it was 26 or 28 at the beginning. I
Quite
thought it's gonna drop, but anyway, yeah, definitely I made a profit.
quite all right.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
made almost 100% on that. That's respectful, man. Very good.
Yes. From 11 to 20 or 21 with the commission.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about 90 ish.
yeah.
That's really good.
No,
Anything above 50% on something like that is killing it. Just to be honest with you, that's a really good
I
job.
will follow your message, Jeremy. That's always I listen to you and see what you do.
No problem, man. I'm glad to be of help with that. And
No, you're great, Jeremy. You're great. You're
you know,
great.
one of the things I
I
wanted
will.
to one of the things I wanted to do is go into some details on these debit spreads because the expectation is you never want to hold them longer than you have to. You kind of treat it like a game of hot potato, so to speak. You're going to hand that off to somebody else. You're going to take a profit on it. And when you buy and sell these spreads, you're not necessarily buying them from someone directly or selling them to someone directly. There's probably going to be two different providers. One's buying your short contract and another one that is selling you a long contract. So there's always two sides to the trade, but when it comes to spreads, you got to realize that there may not be as many people in the right spot when you go to sell these things, so to speak. So when you can take a 50% profit on that, and it's a dollar wide, and your risk was 10 cents or less, you're going to make a big percentage swing on that. But you got to realize that liquidity is only going to be there at that ask price that you put out for a limit order for so long before it depreciates. So sometimes if you put in a limit order and it doesn't fill right away when you go to close these things and take profit on them, you're going to want to just drop it down a penny or two until it fills, and just be
Yeah,
able to take it.
yeah, that's what I did. I dropped it a penny until it's filled.
There you go.
Yeah,
Very nice. That's the way
yeah,
to do it, man. And like I said, you
yeah.
take almost 100% profit on that, you're killing it. That is the
Like I
way.
said, I did ask you early in the morning where it should be, and I should listen to you when you told me 28, but it's just like I said, I was a little bit greedy.
Yeah, it's hard to resist that green-eyed monster, man. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
look at the numbers on that, and you're like, whoa. So
It doesn't come every day. So I said, no, let me try to maximize my profit. But anyway, I'm happy, and I love the spread now. It's less money, and just need to master the technique like you're doing. That's all about.
that's it.
You need to know when you get in and when you get out, either put or call. It's fantastic. I'm gonna focus more, dedicate my time in the weekend to read more and follow the second level library and try to digest as much as I can. And I appreciate it, Jeremy.
No problem. And those spreads, man, it's such a frugal way to trade. It's unbelievable how low the risk is in those things. And even if the price goes sideways, you can probably at least make a break even. Like yesterday when it was kind of grinding into the close there at one point. I mean, I got filled at 9 cents. I could have taken 12 or 13 cents and been happy with that profit just going into the close, day trading it. So it's takes a little bit of size to make some decent money on that. But when you go hold 100 of those overnight, and you take a substantial profit the next day, dude. That's gonna light up your smile.
It was kind of luck, if I can see it, because nobody expecting the CPI will be that bad. Even
Yeah,
it was expected, to be honest with you. But it's a gamble to keep it overnight because it might go to the other direction. But in the meantime, I look at it also when the spread, the loss is minimum.
right,
It's not like you're losing thousands.
right.
It's all for me, I guess maybe $150 less or more.
Man,
It's not like you're losing thousands of dollars, but that's why I like about the spread. Even if you're gonna lose, it's gonna be minimum. It's not gonna be huge because I did lost thousands and thousands of dollars either in option or in stocks. But that's why I said I like the spread. It's just you need to master it.
yeah, it takes a little bit of practice, and like I said, it's very frugal. The risk is so low on those things, and even if the price didn't move dramatically today, you probably still could have at the very least broke even on the open, and that's usually how it is. So if you get into it in the middle of the previous day when volatility is at its lowest, the volatility alone in a sideways open will still be net profitable by a penny or two. But hey, no one's going to complain about taking profit, and you're certainly not going to go broke taking profit. So you know it makes it an easy trade to take. And if you're a beginner at options, you can figure it out how to do these fairly easily. You just got to try one first, and that's the whole thing. Is like you got to get over that fear of trying something new. And when you compare this to just directional options trading, like buying a put or buying a call, dude, it is just, I mean, it throws most of that risk out the window. There's just almost no risk compared to doing that. So it's a pretty neat thing to be able to do.
For me, Jeremy, as a trader, I'm not afraid. I'm bold, if you can say, when it comes to trading. The problem with me, sometimes I do things based on ignorancy, not based on education, and
Right.
that's why I lose a lot of money. So I need to be disciplined, and I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing because when it comes to trading, I trade. I don't never did the paper trading,
Just went straight
and I
into it.
pay the price dearly for it. But I'm insisting to learn and know because since I joined, Polish Bear, I felt the difference. I said I was stupid. The top of the stupidity was me trading without knowing all those knowledge,
Right.
what I was doing. I was wondering, I was an idiot, other trader professional will take advantage of being ignorant, which is there is a lot of people in the market,
Oh yeah.
if you know what I mean. So I'm really, after what I see right now from Polish Bear, if I know I could have even paid 3 times, 4 times what the cost, I would have paid with no hesitancy. I encourage anyone to join the community. I mean, the price is nothing. It's just nothing compared to what I see. There is a guy who come to the CNBC for option. I forgot their name. Nigerian or whatever their name is. You will not believe how much they charge just to give you an option or a weekly option and this and that for thousands of dollars, like $7,000
Wow.
a year. Oh yeah, just read about them, the Nigerian or something. They come like noontime. They are option gurus, two brothers with a beer like a goat, and
Right.
you will never believe how much they're charging. Thousands of dollars.
That's insane.
Thousands of dollars.
There's our breakdown. That is crazy how much they charge for that. I mean, I just, and the difference is we're not copycat traders here. We'll teach you how to do it yourself, and you can, in the long run, those guys probably make more money selling the service than they do actually trading. So you got to kind of wonder. And oftentimes they're getting their data from somewhere else, so like they don't necessarily have the ability to read a chart like we do. So
No,
You know?
they have staff and they have people who specialize in option and this and that. They are very professional, you know,
Right.
but the money they charge you
It's
is
insane.
beyond anybody imagination, you know. I mean, they bombard me every day with email in different way, live this, live
Of
that,
course.
you know. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
amazing to see. I tell myself, oh, what a crooks they are, but they're making a lot of money. That's I have to tell you this, and they are in TV. I mean, when you are in TV, what more you need to attract a lot of people? You know, naive people thinking they're gonna make a lot of money.
That's true. And here we are, like, kind of just charging, peanuts for this service that we do, and we're okay with doing that because we're looking to teach the masses how to trade profitably. We're not looking to make money on the service. We make money trading. I wouldn't be here sitting in this chair if I didn't make money trading. So I'm
To
okay
be
with that.
honest with you, peanut is nothing, Jeremy. It's free.
Yeah,
Honestly, this is free,
that's
not
it.
peanuts even. This is free. The amount of information and dedication from the community and people like you, I consider it free. I mean, if you go to, I don't know, Chick-fil-A or whatever, you're gonna spend more money than the monthly charge, let us say, for example.
Hmm,
So
that's
I'm
true.
sorry, this is free. This is not peanut even because you can spend that money in one meal with your wife or your kid or whatever, you know.
That's
So
true.
that's nothing.
That is true. And then, I mean, dine-in restaurant prices, speaking of which, have gone way, way up. And yeah,
Yeah,
you spend,
Chick-fil-A $14 for one person,
yeah,
Jeremy.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And
$14 for one person after $6 a year ago or 2 years ago.
yeah,
So that's what I'm saying to you. It's free. It's not even peanuts. It's
yeah,
free.
I was,
Not even reach a tip.
yeah, I was surprised. I went to Sonic the other day, and it was like $18 for one person at Sonic. I mean, that's crazy, but here we are. But yeah, you go and sit down, take the family to a steak dinner. I mean, back in just a few years ago, it'd be $100 felt high, at that point, and now it's like you can't get out of there for less than $200 in most cases. So, oof, that's rough. So you gotta put that into consideration, I guess, and that makes sense. I mean,
Absolutely.
comparing our really low price membership fees to, like, taking your family out to McDonald's or something.
That's what I'm saying. You know, that's, you know, you need to look to what's going on outside.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And you're forgetting the great service.
We appreciate that, man. That's why we're here. We love this more than anything. We love teaching people how to trade more than anything. I mean, if we wanted to make money on the service, we could be charging thousands of dollars, but I don't see a need to.
For me, Jeremy, you know, according to a lot of people I joined, and you know, John Carter, you remember him? He's making those things and selling it for thousands of dollars. I did few years ago bought one of those things, you know, which is I found out later on it was a Bullish band, and he made it as a squeeze.
Ah, yeah, I remember
You
that.
remember?
I remember
You
that.
know, I bought it a few years ago,
Yeah,
the short squeeze or whatever the squeeze is, and I paid
TTM.
thousands of dollars for that.
Yeah,
It was bogus. You know, most important now I find it about Polish Empire is the honesty and caring. That's you are not gonna find it anywhere. Or it's gonna be very hard to find it. You know, so that's the things. It's the honesty.
right.
It's the sincere. Is the willing to help rather than to collect money. So, and this is based on my experience. You know, a lot of new traders they don't know that. You know, they hooked with like John Carter, like
Right.
the Nigerian, whatever.
Yeah, and it's I mean, you can be signed up for some of those guys, and sometimes you'll do okay where you can pay those fees, but your your chances of actually learning from that and being able to do it on your own later is kind of slim.
No, John Carter have a trading community. Like by phone, they send you text about buy, sell, and you don't know what you're buying, why, and why you're selling it for.
Right.
That's all they do, just buy and sell.
It's like now I
And
can.
I think around $60 a month. I don't know how much it is now, but this is if you want to join them, they send you text, buy and sell option,
It's like
and you
now I
don't
can.
know if it's gonna work or not, and you don't know, those kind of things.
Right. It's like now I can go and on a free app, with free data, live data, I can go on Webull and put up TTM squeeze right here as a secondary indicator right on my chart. So I mean that's kind of interesting how at one point that was a premium service to be able to have that indicator. Kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's an old one, the TTM.
Yep.
They have. I don't know where they reach right now because I stopped completely dealing with them at least 4 years ago. But
Yeah.
they always have something every couple of months, like they having a new formula,
Right.
which is a huge bogus. But that guy, John Carter, he is, I don't know, he's brilliant about how to make money. It's
Right.
not about trading, but and he always want to show you the account he holds and how much money he's making and those kind of things. So he pulled a lot of people that way.
Yeah. Well, that's the
His
thing. I mean,
service
like,
right now is a lot.
yeah, and you get a lot of people who do the small account challenge too, and that's kind of interesting. I've known that a bunch of those tend to be um, some of those other services that are like showing small account challenges, and then if you look carefully, some of them are even paper trading a small account challenge. It's like, come on, really? I've seen that before. I remember back when I started trading, I went straight into trading with cash as well. But I mean, I started with a very small amount and made it into a much bigger amount. And around that time, I was just trading a chart, and I decided, everybody's like, "Oh man, you shouldn't be trading with real money yet." I'm like, "This isn't real money." I started with barely anything, and they're like, "Oh, you should do paper trading." I'm like, okay, well, what's paper trading going to do for me? About the only thing I could think of that it would do is it would just make it so I do what I've been doing, trading the chart, not paying attention to any attachment to losing large sums of money or anything like that, not letting my emotions get in the way. And it's kind of funny because like most of the default paper trade accounts will start you with like 25,000 or 50,000 or something, some weird amount. You can adjust it, and most of them make it a small account and make it a small account challenge if you want. But it was funny how like I would go and I'd be just trading penny stocks with like size on a paper account that would be absolutely insurmountable to trade on a penny stock because the size of the position would like make the price move into so many halts that it wouldn't even fill orders. So but I mean, you could do it and just trade the chart, and it was funny because like I had a weekly challenge I would do myself with where I would want to try and double $25,000 in a paper account, and I had a couple weeks where I turned into a paper billionaire just because I was just trading the chart, not caring about size, not caring about the fact that these orders wouldn't really fill in real life, and it was kind of funny because I'd take a screenshot and show everybody, "Hey, look, I made $1 billion this week." Like, what? But just for the hell of it, and the one thing I got from paper trading ever is that it just proves the point that if you just trade the chart and detach yourself from the emotion of having money attached to it, it makes a huge difference in your ability to trade. But you still got to know the chart. You got to know what you're looking at. So there's a caveat there. You got to learn that chart. You got to learn that price action first. So
And that's what is Polish prayer is about, is price action. And like I said, being maybe trading over 20 years, and most of the time I'm a loser, no one got that idea or attract me about, the price action. You trading the charts. So you are the only one who exposed me to that. I just you opened my eyes and I said, oh, my God, just look into the chart and you know where to get in and out without indicator, without anything, without all those commotion. So it was amazing for me. That's why I was so attracted to learn how the price action, in other words. So it's amazing. It's amazing when you master it, and I can see it in you. I mean, you don't need anything. You just in a second, you look on the chart, you flip it, you know the ups and down in it. I just like, wow.
Yeah,
For me, it's just like that's a dream.
you'll get there too, man. It's coming. And like I said, you practice it enough, and it just becomes instinctive, as if it's just like you can autopilot it. You could do it subconsciously. It's like you learn how to ride a bike or you learn how to walk. You don't have to think about it. You just do it.
Yeah. What's great about you, Jeremy, like I said before, is Wolf Wave and the Diamond.
Yes, we got.
That's really blowing up my mind.
It's a couple of setups that aren't very well talked about, but they work really well, as we know. We've
Yeah, I'm also planning to read more and see more videos because it's amazing the way you look at it and the way you deal with it. It's one of the best things I ever seen so far.
I'm glad I can be that. I
You
still
are.
I still like to be
Don't
humble.
undermine. Don't undermine your intelligence and smartness, Jeremy. You are the best.
Appreciate you, man. Really do. Speaking of wolf waves, here's our purple wolf here. Where'd it go? Come back here. Nope. Eventually I'll click on the right line. There it is. I gotta extend that. That sets us up. We could still make that measured move to the bear side today, but it's looking more and more like it's going to be a half move. So if this momentum keeps up right now on this little short-term reversal here, we got this little triple top after a 50% retracement from that big old mother bar from that CPI data. We could come back and at least test the opening low down here, but I think we got a pretty good chance at closing down here around 344.50. So there's still some bearishness to be had in the market today. And yesterday's diamond pattern, I'm going to go and reach out to that on a 5-minute chart. See if I can grab some lines here. There's your angular resistance. As almost as if it predicted price for today. Look at this. That diamond right there. If you can see through all this mess on my chart like I can, you've got something going on for you. Your cognitive skills are amazing to be able to separate that data. But there's a diamond here from yesterday's open on the 5-minute chart. And we had the angular resistance on the upslope on a range expansion, and we had the angular support and angular resistance on the downslope or the range compression. So we just take that line, continue it on over to today's chart, and check this out. That line that I extended there, I'm going to turn it a funky color that stands out. Dude, it went right to that stinking low in the pre-market, like methodically. That's what's cool about that diamond, man. It really is great for seeing where your price range is likely to be. All right, so now we've got this head and shoulders looking thing here, triple top, whatever you want to call it, but it's in a key zone. It's right. The top almost went to that 50% retracement line that we drew earlier. We've got the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder forming. Now, if we break back through the support and then come back through the critical support of this thing, which I drew a short line here, about 256 for Q and probably somewhere in the neighborhood on SPY would be about 351.25, that area there. Come through that, we can expect this to come down and at least meet almost all the way to today's opening low. Other than that, It's going to be a grindy day, unfortunately, until we get some momentum on board here. So kind of stay tuned into the market today. Keep an eye on SPY. SPY is going to tell you a lot of things. Q is going to tell you a lot of things. A lot of your large caps are going to move accordingly, and always look at the split between gainers and losers, essentially. And it'll give you an idea for what the order flow is going to look like today. Let me pull that up real quick. Pardon me. This market's doing things to me. It's giving me the hiccups. Yeah, decliners, advancers here, and that current number, there are 4,864 equities in the S&P 500 declining right now, and only 1,822 equities advancing right now. So that is quite the spread for advanced decliners, and it's looking more and more bearish as we go. So I think we get continuation. I think this CPI data kind of set the pattern in motion, and we're going to probably see some much lower lows in the near future here. Let me get this on a single grid and throw SPY up here real quick just to give us a quick breakdown before I sign off. And this is going to be the chart nastiest. Give me 1 second though. I'm going to reset so I can make a recording on this and put this up as a video itself later. Okay, let me zoom out. I got the TTM up here just because we're still remaining pretty bearish, but let's look at the daily chart here. We're still looking at some bearish strength growing here. We had that gap down this morning. Let me turn the lines off. There we go. We don't have to always chart nasty. But let's see if we can look left and figure out what we're repeating here. You see it yet? All right. If we look at the previous trend here, we've got it where it looks identical to this one. All right, these two are basically the same trend. However, last time we had a really big dip like that, it went down with a big old wick and snapped back up. So if we do remain bearish today and make that complete measured move, expect there to be some buying there, and it won't be just retail chasing price. This will be a lot of shorts covering, a lot of things like that, where a squeeze will generally cause something like that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to run and rip a face off and completely reverse. More than likely, you'll get a little short relief rally and then continuation into the trend. Well, that trend has been bearish for a long time now, and this is a weekly chart now we're looking at. And if you look left here, you'll see that right at that 351.50, 351 price area, comparatively, look left. Just nothing but air underneath that candle, dude. And that goes stinking low down to 320, right? 320 is a number we've been kicking around for a long time now as like the absolute bottom, or where we would look for an absolute bottom from this amount of bearishness after that, all-time high was just basically flushed. But we're also in an area where we've more or less retrieved about a 50% retracement of that entire bullish trend from the COVID lockdown here, right? So we're right in the middle of that. If we do run down as low as 320 in SPY, I'd expect a very quick V-bottom right about there. And then we can start maybe working into reversing some of this stuff so we can get some volatile, hopefully volatile, bullish action out of this. So all we can do is kind of look at the chart and trade what it gives us. But in the long run, what are the chances of this looking like a giant M-top? Looking at a weekly chart, let's go with a monthly chart. I always look as far left as I feel necessary. All right, so let's look at SPY, all the way back here, like 1993 kind of look. All right, every time it's had one of these big pullbacks, it's always kind of been resilient and bounced out of it with a V. So overall, pretty bullish, but look, comparatively with TTM here, can it be only the beginning? Damn, comparatively, look, I held a crosshair here. We've achieved about the maximum amount of pullback compared to 2008 here. We're in that realm. So like I said, if we do hit that 320, I'd expect a long wick on the weekly chart for that to show us a quick rip back up. There's going to be a lot of buyers waiting down there, I'm sure. And if you look at the control bar on a monthly chart, there it is right there. We've entered that range, as of the beginning of this month, and we're likely to go down and trace that entire bar, or at least half of it. So we've got some support here at like 338, somewhere in there. Okay, it's respectable, reasonable. Throw my dirt on here. I've already got a pivot point set down there, right? So I could probably at the very least drag this 342 down a little bit, but I have 342 because this bar right here is where that's supported there. So it's not quite a full-on 50% retracement, but damn close. So if I see 342 crack, I can almost certainly expect it to follow through with the rest of that control bar down to that 320 level. But like I said, I would expect some buyers down there if this gets to be that low. So it's not all doom and gloom. Eventually this market will retrace. It will have some actual bullishness. But in the meantime, never trust any of these bull rallies. Sure, you can trade the crap out of them. We do. Why the hell not? That's price action. But when it comes down to being very fearful that the market's going to melt down, the economy is going to be completely destroyed. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So this economy, it's not destroyed. It's a pullback. All right, the whole way this thing works. It's just a big giant pullback. I mean, you look at that monthly chart, go way back to 1993. It's been bullish since 1993, and long before that, it's still been bullish. It's always going to have a pullback though, and a correction. So don't feel so bad about looking at all this blood in the market. Yeah, I know there's a lot of retirement investment getting wiped off the board here with this, but at some point it'll bounce back. It's kind of how it works in this country. With that, I'm going to kind of sign off. I think today we can probably get some more price action. It'll just be a slow, grindy day, but for the most part, we're kind of hanging out in an area where we know what comes next if it does break those areas. So
You're back later, Jeremy.
Hey, yeah, I'll be back later for sure.
Sorry, I've been in and out of meetings.
Quite all right.
You saying there you were just analysing. I've literally just caught the tail end of that. Were you analysing the SPY there?
Yep, and I'm gonna take that and turn it into a separate video to throw on the YouTube channel. So
yeah, okay.
We'll run
Thank
with
you.
it. But I can definitely. I'll put a link to it when I get it up here. But just in case you missed it. But for the most part,
thank you.
it's been a slow morning so far, aside from that CPI data with the pre-market drop. We profited greatly from some of those put debit spreads we got into yesterday. I had a few condors I was able to profit on as well. Been a great day for that. As far as the rest of the day goes, we could get that midday set up where we start to turn this into more of a measured move and go to that bear side, and we might achieve a close at that 342, but kind of hang that, pin it on the board, and look at it all day before we decide if it's going to do that or not. Let me see here. Oops. Hey, no problem. I'm glad you appreciate our content out there. And like I said, just you can hang out with us on the YouTube channel, or we do some more in-depth stuff. We got a huge amount of resources within our Discord group, and it's a really low cost fee to enter that. Even just try it out for a month. Like Ryan was saying earlier, it's like that's like taking your wife and kids to a dinner at Chick-fil-A. That's about the price of our membership. So I mean, it's really insignificant compared to what you're going to get from it. So we keep that on that low because we would rather actually teach trading, and we would actually rather give it to you from people who make most of their money trading. That fee at all is just to keep resources going to where the business supports itself, where it has access to all that data that we bring to you. We purchase a lot of different Discord bot data formats that are very expensive comparatively if you were to buy it on your own, but your membership gets you access to that for free. That's a huge resource, and boy, you can really get some great stuff out of that. And then also, like I said, we hands-on teach you how to trade and teach you how to read a chart, and anything you want to know, any questions you have, we answer, and we answer them live. So definitely check us out if you like us. Give it that try with the monthly membership and see how you like it. And it's like I said, it's a Chick-fil-A meal away from becoming a profitable trader. Kind of a no-brainer to me. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off of YouTube, and then I'm going to take a little break here in Discord, and I'll come back and start doing some one-on-one. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.